Rowing the Charles, running Heartbreak Hill, and golfing at Granite Links. All the activities that put the great in Greater Boston. With its stunning skyline view and top 100 best in America rankings, Granite Links is a must-play destination for golfers near and far. The course and restaurants welcome visitors, or become a member and enjoy full club privileges. To experience the best in the U.S. right here in Boston, visit Granite Links, or to learn more, visit granitelinksgolfclub.com.
We're here once again. Welcome to Steele Nazz, brought to you in part by Hedge Better from our headquarters in Braintree, Mass. Sponsored by Slight Edge Fitness and Performance and Granite Links Golf Club in Quincy, Massachusetts. Tonight, we talk all things sports with Shukri Wrights. We also actually talked about sports radio and how we got into it, but he's a big Yankees guy, so we got over this Yankees-Red Sox series, the Yankees with the clean sweep.
Boys are back!
Yeah, Steele's got the edge in front of everyone, except for Antan. Antan's got the first place Tampa Bay Rays here.
They're next.
Yeah, afterwards, preseason week 2 kicks off. Actually, it's occurring currently right now. We're recording on a Thursday night between the Patriots and Eagles. We'll give you everything, our analysis of where we think of the quarterback situation is, and so on and so on. Yeah, great show tonight. Shukri Wrights, what did you guys think of the interview?
Awesome guy.
Loved it.
His story's crazy. Just his transition. He only in 3.5 months kind of made the decision, I want to get into sports radio. He took the necessary steps. He talks a lot about, even with his new move to Quincy, he talks about a lot of the unknown and how that kind of helps him progress and grow. And I think that's definitely huge for experience and growing. And he obviously is putting in the work, putting in the time, doing the research. So
one thing I respect the hell out of him too, for it as well, is he talked about how he was almost gonna leave here. So many people leave here to get that start, right, and then might find their way back here because the Boston media is just, it's hard to get into.
And who was his predecessor? Who was his
Sosi.
Bob Sosi,
yep.
Right.
A little tease right there, I like that.
Yeah.
To me, I just he's one of those people that should have stayed on, the entire podcast and just talked with us. He's one of those.
Yeah,
ones
he's good.
We could have gone 4 hours with him.
Yeah, no, seriously,
absolutely.
I thought we were on the podcast for 2 hours because I was I could just keep talking forever.
For sure. Before we get to the interview, I just want to give a big shout out to two of my friends, Mike Liddif and Shannon Callahan. They're now engaged. I just wanted to give them a big shout out. Breaking news there. I'm sure they'll like that. We'll move on here. Shukri Wrights, let's get it. We're now joined by sports radio host here that currently works for 91.5 WMFO and 101.1 WBRS. Shukri Wrights, how are we doing tonight, man? I've seen your content on Twitter, social media. Very impressed, man, about your grind and everything you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be on with you guys this evening, and I'm excited to be on. Even though the Patriots may give me reason in preseason to blow a gasket or two, but neither way, I'm excited to be on with you guys. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Great stuff. We'll get to, Bruins, Celtics, whatever you really want on Boston sports, but I just want to ask a quick question about, how much do you enjoy, hosting sports radio and, really being a part of that and diving into that industry?
It's been a dream of mine, honestly. And it's a blessing, and it's something that I don't take for granted. And my story real quick is I was born and raised in New York. Growing up as a kid, my father is the single reason why I got into the industry and even had any sort of love or interest in radio. I grew up listening to the news, listening to Tintin Wins in the morning, and as a result, I thought, oh wow, radio means news, newscasters, delivering the news reports in the morning. But once I first got that first little taste of WFAN, I was like, ooh, this is one forbidden apple I can't say no to.
Yeah, right? Let's go.
No. But
Mike Franceschi can just say whatever the hell he wants, and you know what? He makes money, and you know what? I can do that too.
You know what's funny? Mike and the Mad Dog was the first show that I listened to on that station. I was like, ooh, you can talk sports on radio?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can yell about
sold.
this? Yeah.
This was 2004. That summer was the biggest eye opener I got. It was ever since then, it's been a journey of I know what I want to do. I know that sports media and sports radio is my passion and it is my lifelong dream. And now to be able to do this and still grinding to where I want to be ultimately is a dream. It hasn't been easy, but I'm more than happy to share my story as in hopes that it could be an inspiration to someone out there.
Now, you say you're a New York native, so we talked a little bit before the show. We're a podcast from Quincy, Mass. Rumor has it you might be heading over to the bridge.
Like I'm hoping to come over the bridge like at some point next week. Wow. And it's interesting because like one of the things that I'm most looking forward to is a change of scenery, is a new beginning. And I don't know what that new chapter is going to be. It's a lot of unknowns, but anything that you're starting up as new, as like a new chapter or a new beginning, or anything, there's always going to be unknown. So you just have to like embrace it and just take it for what it is, and like use it to your advantage, and give yourself that prop. Say, hey, you've made it this far, but you didn't make it this far to only come this far, and push yourself to see you can get to that next level.
And so kind of in the question, you occasionally hear kind of in Boston sports radio in terms of, guys catching the break, guys getting on the shows and whatnot, and how they grinded, how they just kind of sat outside the studios or did whatever they were asked kind of for nothing. And how did you kind of get to being a host, getting on the radio, getting as far as you've gotten? Kind of is there anything in particular, any stories that kind of gotten you there this far?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'm going to answer it in complete totality, if I'm allowed to do so.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
One story that does come to mind for me is April of 2019. Now, at that point, I had been living in Boston for 2 years. I've always known that I wanted to, get into sports radio, be a sports radio host and broadcaster and so forth. But I just didn't know what on earth to do. And I was just like so frustrated. And there was this one conversation that I had with someone who I was dating at the time. And she said, what would be a really good idea is for you to reach out to someone who is doing exactly what you want to do. So I did. And the person who got back to me is Bob Sosi, the play-by-play voice of the New England Patriots on 98.5 The Sport Top. And I'm serious. Him and I have had a really, really tremendous relationship over the course of 2 years. But going back to at that time in April of 19, I was like, I'm going to reach out because I know next to nothing in terms of how do I get on the air, how do I get reps and so forth, and become more comfortable being on behind the mic. And the first conversation I'll never forget, he shared with me a story of when he was doing college football for Navy and his background, also being from New York originally as well. And I just listening intently was, I think, the best thing that I could have done in that moment, because it allowed me to be focused in that moment, not thinking ahead to what's the next move when I'm having a conversation with someone, but being fully present and listening and being the dummy. And now let me explain, what does that mean, being the dummy? Being the dummy means you throw out your ego, whatever ego you may have, throw it out and just say, I want to listen because I don't know what I'm doing. I want to learn. And you go into someone who is as accomplished as Bob Sosi is, it's like, I want to learn and listen. I was like, okay, I need to do this X, Y, and Z. Boom. Okay. This is what I'm going to do now. How do I build on-air presence? How do I build confidence in speaking into the microphone? How do I do those things? So the following 2 months, it was like, darn, I can't apply to EEI or 98.5 because I have no real world on-air experience.
Yeah.
So I was frustrated. And at that point in June of 19, I was like, you know what? I'm going to look into like some radio stations, other radio stations, see like where can I get on the air? And Sosi gave me an advice that really changed my life. And it was, look into community radio stations. You have to get on the air. You have to get those on-air reps. You guys do a podcast. You understand the importance
for sure
of having reps and doing reps over and over and over again.
It gets easier and easier every time.
One after the other.
Absolutely. So as a result, I was like, you know what? WMFO. Oh, my friend does a show there. what's the process like? What would I have to do? What sort of training would I have to undergo in order to do my own radio show? And I went through that process. I reached out to the program director, found out when they were doing trainings to host new shows. And after a week plus of doing training, I got my own show, which is called the Shukri Wrights Show on 91.5 FM WMFO, which has been running since July 6, 2019. And because of that advice, it helped me get to that next level, which was, wow, I have my own sports radio show in the Boston area and in this market. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Are you kidding me?
That is also no joke to still kind of have this type of show this long in this type of market in radio, the way things are going and stuff. So that's
the fact that the actual date. I think you said July 6th. I think says
2019.
something. Yeah, it says something special that that it's a place in your heart where you really appreciate 100%. How far you've come, and like you said, it's not easy to get, especially this kind of area with the market that Boston is.
So you did all that in a 3-month time span from April until July?
Yeah, until June of not June, July of 19. July. And there was a point where, I will be completely honest, I was ready to move. I was like, you know what? This isn't working here. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but maybe I'm better off just leaving Boston altogether. And part of what Bob Swisher was telling me at the time in a conversation, he was saying that, don't look to leave just yet. Look into community radio stations, whether it be college radio stations that accept community members and so forth. Point is, you need to get on the reps and do live reps. And that advice literally changed my life. Now, when I did my first radio show on July 6, 2019, I remember to this day, I was nervous. I was loud. I was screaming and I once went back and listened to a show I did on July 13th, which was the second show I ever did. And I was like, damn, why the hell do I sound like an unmature 13-year-old who absolutely has no sort of bass?
How do I fix this?
Exact same
seriously.
thing. Exactly.
It was bad. It was bad. I was like, oh, I sound like that?
Yeah, when you go back and watch the podcast from before, it helps you really grow too, because you're like, what am I doing? Am I touching my face all the time?
Yeah, our first episode was
looking at your want to forget your body language.
Exactly. It's so humbling because it's like, so this is where I am. Okay. Now, how do I get better? Don't just only do your time slot. And I said, you know what? Since I'm on radio now, I want to try to grab as many empty slots as I possibly can, do a 2-hour show, do an hour show here, do it here, do it there, and so forth. And from there, it began to take off. I would book guests. I would have guests come on the show. I had Teron Davenport, who's the ESPN Tennessee Titans reporter. He came on the show at the time in the summer of 2019. And I began to have other people come on live, because I wanted to have that experience of having a live radio interview, asking questions, preparing, and so forth, and going through that experience of preparing for a radio show was something that I needed to undergo and realize that, hey, you're not just going on the air and just blabbing your mouth for 2 or 3 hours at a time. There's a process, there's work, there's things that you have to do in order to come on the air and have that confidence and that comfort level where you know what you're talking about.
For sure. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but a live radio show and a podcast, in my opinion, are just two completely different things. You have one that you're talking about where, you got to be game ready because, anything you say, if you say something wrong, you can't go back and edit it. It's out in the public. Well, the podcast, we can pre-record.
Yeah. Your career is on the line.
Yeah.
Right? Got to be good. Got to be good.
Absolutely. And it's true because and I'm glad you mentioned about pre-recording because there's something I want to share with you guys. Now, we've all have gone through a lot in the last year and a half during this pandemic. Sure. Let's be completely transparent and clear about that. Yep. I've gone through a lot in my career and as well as in my life just within the last 5 months or whatnot. And when the pandemic first began on March 11th, for me, that night is a night that will forever be burned in my memory as long as I live until the day I die. I'm on my way to the Garden because for a lot of people who don't know, I also work at the Garden as a side hustle. I work as part of the bowl gang, as part of the changeover crew, change over the Garden from the Celtics parquet to the Bruins and
hell yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah.
So I was on my way to the Garden that night and just picked up an extra shift just to make extra money. I get the news on my phone and I'm like, oh crap, this is not good. Rudy Gobert tested positive for coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yeah. So the next day on March 12th, I had found out that there was an open slot between 12 noon and 2 p.m. And I knew that this was going to be the biggest radio broadcast possibly of my life because this was sports and news literally intertwining into one.
Yeah.
So during that
chaos.
it really was chaos. Like I had Twitter on my computer monitor in front of me, just refreshing it to see if there was anything developing or news breaking and so forth. We all remember like sports shut down entirely on that day. But that afternoon, I got an email from the program director at WMFO saying that, hey, we're going to be shutting down operations at the station indefinitely. There will be no more live broadcasts as of Friday, March 13th, 2020. And I'll never forget this. I said, you know what? I was upset, but I didn't really understand the gravity of everything that was happening, especially at that time, because everything was obviously still very brand new. Like no one knew what to really make of what was happening.
Yeah, no one on the planet.
Exactly.
I will say this, when March Madness was canceled and how upset I was, most people kind of in that moment probably would have said I was overreacting. But now, I think I overreact. I mean, I think I reacted correctly in terms of how fucking upset I was.
Freaking out.
Not to make light of it, but I was fucking upset. And I guess for good reason.
Yeah.
That was horrible. I was so sad.
And it's funny because like that day, like I broke the news that college basketball was canceling March Madness and the ACC tournament was going to be canceled and all of that.
They took the Big East off the court.
Yeah, the Big East was like, everything was just like, I was like, damn. Now, in terms of the radio show, the last live show I did at that station was Friday, March 13th, and I got there early. I got there around 5 o'clock, and the show was at 7 because I wanted to just soak in the ambiance of being in a radio studio for I don't know when the next time is going to be. I'm hoping that it'll be open next month, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
2 weeks.
I had, we'll see.
That's how it began.
Oh gosh, that would suck. But, but with that being said, like, so I got in there early, did my prep work, did the show, left, and hadn't been back since. So all of my radio shows have been pre-recorded ever since. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful to be doing my shows and whatnot. Now it's Wednesday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. But nothing beats live radio. Like nothing beats doing a live radio show.
Right. So are you recording at home or are you going back into the studio?
Right now I'm doing shows from home.
Right.
Do you not see that microphone?
No, I know. Yeah, seriously.
That thing's a unit. Love it.
I thought you just had a nice hobby.
You see, the easy thing for me would have been like, man, you idiot. What's wrong with you? But no, I've been doing shows from home ever since then. But thanks to a really good friend of mine who helped make the connection with me, I have been doing fill-in work on the Sports Map radio network on Pepe Die Hard and Friends. Nationally live, which is broadcasted from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the Sports Map Radio Network across 200 affiliates across the United States.
Awesome.
So that for me, it's been huge in terms of having the opportunity to go and do a show live and be able to get those reps. And I'm very grateful to my friend as well as Anthony Pepe, who's been absolutely huge for me during these last few months getting live reps.
Must help you like with your confidence and everything too, you know, just to step back in that booth and get it going live, you know. I kind of wanted to transition on. We had for me myself as a Red Sox fan, quite the disappointing 3-game series with your New York Yankees.
Let's go Yankees.
Yankees guy next to me. Good conversation here. Red Sox have not been good since like around the trade deadline. The Yankees made the moves they had to make to be better. I forget their record right now. It might be like 20-something and 7 since like the All-Star break. Just give me your thoughts on a successful series by the Yankees over the Red Sox.
I'm cutting in real quick. Disrespect. Didn't even. I'm a Rays fan. He didn't even. Well, that's all we do.
We'll worry about him later.
It's okay. The Tampa Bay Rays are still on top of the division. But to answer your question, this isn't about parading around like the Red Sox and the fact that we just swept them and so forth. But I want to make a really big point here. Chaim Bloom is about to learn the biggest lesson of them all. I'm sorry, but no one gives a damn about your 5-year plan. If you have a team that overachieves and has the best record in the American League and you do nothing to address the needs that you needed, I'm sorry, the vitriol and the criticism is going to be swift, especially in this market. And I understand the anger and frustration of Red Sox fans because the reality is this. You literally saw last night, Anthony Rizzo, the guy that was tied to the Red Sox, that he's going to go to Boston. All the national reports indicated that he was going to go to Boston.
Yeah.
Yet the Yankees did exactly what they needed to do. And even by my own admission, I was shocked because I was telling a really close friend of mine that the Yankees, we should be freaking sellers. Like, why are we going to be buyers? We're 10.5 games out. This is a lost year. We're 41-41 after 82 games. What chance do we really have? But Cashman said, no, we're going to go out and get Joey Gallo. We're going to get Anthony Rizzo, the Italian stallion.
Yep.
And
you've seen what has happened since.
It was like the first game.
16-4.
I disagree with you to an extent. And this is where I disagree. In the sense that Chaim Bloom, yes, he has that 5-year plan. He comes from the Rays system. We let him have
this is
fine.
The Rays fan defended his guy.
He went out and got Schwarber, and that was the wrong move. It should have been going out and getting a starting pitcher. And even if that one move was made, I'm not saying it would have changed the fortunes of it. I'm not saying it would, the Red Sox wouldn't have slid. I'm not saying any of that.
Antan, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it comes down to he didn't want to get rid of these prospects to get these starting pitches because I think he could have had them. I think he could have had them.
But
Rizzo was also a gimme for who they needed. They needed Rizzo so bad.
Go get a Kyle Gibson. Go get a starting pitcher that is worth a damn.
I don't think I've literally seen any first baseman who's better defensively than Anthony Rizzo.
Okay, but still, you still have the lineup that can do it. Just, I don't think Schwarber was the piece to go get.
That lineup can't hit Andrew Haney.
You don't have to give up your 5-year plan.
Guy.
You don't have to give up your 5-year plan.
And he's also damaged goods. It's not like we're getting someone right off the bat.
Fucking Cole Hamels, even though he got hurt, a lower level, a Kyle Gibson.
You needed pitching and like someone that can give you innings or someone that can give you quality outing. But this is where to counter your point. I don't think the issue was getting Kyle Schwarber. The issue is you had a need in your lineup, especially at first base. I mean, that was last night was abundantly clear in which that. How much of a punch to the gut it was to Red Sox Nation to see that Anthony Rizzo hits a ball off the glove of Bobby Dahlbeck that scores 2 runs that ultimately beats the Red Sox.
The irony.
How much of a gut punch is that, honestly? And then to also add to this point, here is this. I look at the bullpen for the Red Sox and I say they could really use an arm.
Yeah,
because Matt Barnes, going back to that series in Toronto against the Blue Jays, had lost his confidence.
Oh, he's
not the same Matt Barnes in the first half of the regular season. And if you're Chaim Bloom, I'm sorry, at this point, it's clear you were wrong in not addressing the needs of your Boston Red Sox at the trade deadline. And I got to give Brian Cashman credit, not being a homer at all by any stretch of imagination.
For sure.
But Brian Cashman said, you know what? We may be so far out, but what if we go out and make moves that's going to help improve the ball club? Yes, we already have a first baseman in Luke Voigt, but Anthony Rizzo and Luke Voigt, Those guys can share at bats.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of that?
Their
And it's
lineup
worse.
tonight's ridiculous.
What do you think of that? The home run leader and Luke Voigt now having to like think about it in his head, like, hey, I have
much
to
a backup.
fucking split time.
He's literally batting
I'm the
leadoff
home run
tonight.
leader, and now
he's batting leadoff.
I don't know what my spot is in this lineup.
Crazy.
It's
And
insane.
you want to know what's funny? Yeah, you want to know what's funny? I don't have a problem with what he said. Because, see, here's the thing. In New York, his comments are being read across as, this guy is a selfish prick. How dare he speak up in the manner that he spoke? No, he wasn't being selfish. He said exactly what every good player would say in that situation. Like, I'll give you a case in point. You got to go back to, I think it was 96. The Yankees went out and made a move at the deadline. And they add, I can't remember the player's name, but I remember they had Wade Boggs at the time, who was trying to get his first World Series, which turned out to be his only World Series that he's won in his career, in his Hall of Fame career. Mm-hmm. He went out. Bob Watson was the general manager at the time. Went out and made a move. He went out and got Cecil Fielder. He also went out and he had gotten, I believe it was Mariano Duncan as well, utility infielder for the Yankees at that point. They found a way to make sure that everybody got enough at bats. Mm-hmm. They weren't worried about, well, what about my playing time and so forth. That wasn't the concern. The concern was, can I still contribute? Because this is a pretty darn good team. And he recognized that, listen, I want to help this team win. Because right now, what we're seeing with the Yankees is that this is a different team as compared to what we saw in the first half of the season.
Wildly different. It's crazy. They already lead the league since the trade deadline, stolen bases, and Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo aren't helping you with that. You know what I mean? It's a whole team doing it.
I'd also love your opinion, as I am. I'm obviously not a Yankees fan, but Andrew Heaney, I think the hate he got, he pitched he killed the Red Sox last night. I think he ended the Red Sox season last night. I truly do.
40 games left.
I'm a big Heaney fan before the trade. I don't think Yankee Stadium's great. He's a fly ball pitcher, but the hate he gets is just not called for. And them getting Tyone, who's pitching tonight, correct?
He's pitching. He's been pitching great.
Those two,
he's
Cashman
been pitching
is phenomenal GM.
Oh yeah,
he does those little moves that people just Gallo, Rizzo. These moves he's made. Tyone's come back from cancer, and Tommy John and all of this. Phenomenal pitchers. He does not get enough credit, of all these type of moves. What do you think?
Don't forget Corey Kluber as well.
Hopefully returning
him as well.
Hopefully returning.
Look at the Dodgers. It's what? It's
Kershaw,
Buehler, Scherzer, Kershaw,
Turner,
Price. If Bauer wasn't a fucking douchebag,
Yeah, if he was
How about the kid-
genuinely
how about the kid
bad
with the-
person, yeah.
How about the kid with the red hair? May he still on that team?
He's out for the
out.
season.
Out for the season.
He
All
blew
right.
his arm out.
that team's that's annoying.
You named
That's a
people
super team.
after
That's what we
Buehler,
call super
Scherzer,
team.
and Kershaw, which is fucked up. That should be those three only. It should be those three only. You should have more than that.
For the Red Sox, though, bottom line, obviously going into the season, their pitching was very average, and so was their pitching, starting pitching and bullpen. But they outperformed themselves in the first half, and they felt like they could take a little foot off the gas pedal. Didn't have to make any moves at the deadline to save your prospects, and that ended up biting them in the tail.
It did, because I said this to someone just before the trade deadline. I said the fact that the Tampa Bay Rays went out and acquired Nelson Cruz should have sent alarms to New England and Red Sox Nation wait a minute here. We went out and got one of the preeminent bats in the American League over the last 10 years, and this Rays team year after year after year finds a way to still get it done. They trade away Diego Castillo. They don't miss a step at all.
Or him.
And that's
Rich Hill.
Yeah, Blake Snell.
Rich Hill.
They just get rid of everybody.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's they continue to make moves that may not be the sexiest move, but this move was actually pretty sexy considering that he was in Minnesota, one of the worst teams in baseball in 2021. But that should have been the first signal to Chaim Bloom and say, okay, we probably should make some sort of a move here. We're not talking about a move in which we're just gonna get Kyle Schwarber and Hanson freaking Robles who doesn't do you a damn good.
Hey, he throws gas
good
though.
in the
He throws
bullpen.
gas.
Oh, come like.
Oh yeah, he throws gas that gets hit out of the damn ballpark.
I don't know. I would kind of kill to throw 98 miles an hour. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
but
lie.
you know what? If you're in the MLB, you're throwing fucking gas.
That's
Sorry,
going.
man.
It's going 120 the other way.
If you're in a
buddy.
bullpen,
who
you're throwing
cares?
fucking
Exactly.
And a quick question. I know you were born in New York, so what are your sports teams that you follow?
Oh yeah. Diehard Yankee fan.
Let's go.
Bruins fan. I've been a Bruins fan for a very long time,
Let's go.
actually.
The hub.
Bruins, like I grew up in New York. Like you obviously, like we don't get nests in New York. You have MSG, so I watch a ton of Ranger hockey. You know, I really like watching like Mark Messier growing up and Mike Richter.
Let's
and
go.
I also saw like the
Unreal.
also saw like the debut of like Henrik Lundqvist and so forth. But I've always have had an affinity for the Boston Bruins. Like I really, really loved Joe Thornton when he was a Bruin.
Of course, how can you
Patrice
not?
Bergeron was my guy from when I was a teenager. So like I've loved the Bruins for a long time, but I've always have had respect for the Rangers in terms of the players that they were able to draft and bring along, and as well as acquire via trades. A guy that comes to mind when I say that is Ryan McDonough. He was acquired from the Montreal Canadiens, and we all know what the type of defense that he's become now with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So for me, when it comes to the Bruins, like I've respected and loved that organization for the longest, despite the fact that they really pissed me off in the mid 2000s. But my passion has never waned. And then the day that they got Zdeno Chara literally changed the Boston Bruins franchise forever. Yep. Now, as far as the NBA,
Knicks,
I was never a Knicks fan.
Oh,
I was never a Knicks fan.
The
Good for
boys,
you.
The Oakleys,
I never was a Knicks fan.
You
I'm
nailed
sorry,
it.
but James Dolan pissed me off too many times over the years. He really turned me away from the franchise.
I agree.
So I adopted the Boston Celtics. Like I
Let's
really,
go. Two
I
for three.
really
Not bad.
liked. I really liked like Paul Pierce going back to the early 2000s when he used to play with freaking
Antoine Walker, baby.
like back in those days.
Go.
Eric Williams, Sheldon Williams, Walter
The
McCarty.
boys.
Sheldon
The boys.
Ricky Davis.
Like, those were my boys back in those days, and then for football, like Patriots 100%, and even like.
Wait a minute. You're a fucking front runner.
Yeah,
kept the Yankees, you man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold this.
kept the
I want you to
fucking
hold this, please. Hold this.
I'm just saying. I'm just fucking saying.
I'm not
Mike,
gonna. I'm
can you
not
get
even
your
gonna
boy?
give you the burden. I'm gonna give you this. Hold this.
I'm just saying. I just said, wait a minute.
I'm not a front. No, not a front runner. I'm going to defend myself here. Definitely not a front when it comes to the Yankees. Like I was born and raised a Yankee fan. Yeah. My grandfather was a diehard baseball fan, and like grew up. He basically had freaking DiMaggio and Mantle and Yogi Berra watching during his heyday. I mean, he passed away when I was young, but he passed down the love of baseball to me, and I carry that with me to this day. And
hot take.
Like as far as
the greatest GOAT of all time is Joe DiMaggio. I stand on that hill. I'll die on that hill. Better than Brady. Better than Jordan. Better than all of them.
I was going to say the
of
baseball.
what?
So
That's a very goat in terms of what athletes.
The greatest of all time. The best winner of all time.
Sport,
9 World Series. Best fucking record in the history of sports. Marilyn Monroe. All of it.
Are you saying that he's better than Yogi Berra, who's got 10 rings as a player?
Yes, he has 56-game hit streak. Marilyn Monroe.
really hammering that point.
That's tough.
Did you see
I don't know, man. And I listen. DiMaggio has two things going for him. He got two things that's going for him that will never be broken. Number one, 56-game hitting streak. In today's game, in the way that pitching has become so specialized, it is going to be very difficult, actually impossible.
Yeah, I'd go that far. I'd go that
it's
far.
impossible to actually break that record. And then also, who was the last hitter to hit 400 in a season? Ted Williams, right?
No, was it?
Yep.
It's Ted Williams in 41. Last player to hit 400 in a season with Ted Williams, 406. And as far as the other thing that DiMaggio has going for him is that he's struck out only 350 something times in his entire career.
Wow.
If you look at like Tony Gwynn and Joey Votto stats, I think Joey Votto, how many seasons has he played? He's like popped out like to foul ground,
his swing
like
just
less than
slowly-
10 times in his career.
There's one of those
15
too. It's
seasons.
like in 2016
It's an unbelievable
or
stat.
something like that. Like Mike Trout,
is.
Mike Trout struck out more times in that one season than Tony Gwynn did in like the entire
I think
1990s.
he struck out 3
like the
times in
entire
one season.
decade.
I was gonna say,
it's
so
crazy.
obviously we have like a huge culture for sports around here, but what's the baseball culture like for the Yankees in New York? Like I can only imagine it's just
That's a phenomenal question. I'm glad you asked because I tell people this. I'm like, growing up in New York in the 90s,
such icons in just the baseball world there.
Best way, the best way I can explain it is the Yankees truly was a religion of epic proportion in New York in the 90s, in the late 90s, early 2000s, because obviously when you win 4 World Series in 5 years, which hasn't been done since, and there's only been one team that's come close to that in terms of a dynasty status, it's the San Francisco Giants. Mm-hmm. But for the Yankees in New York, they are worshipped historically. But because of what Joe Torre did in 96 in those first 5 years, winning 4 World Series, and if not for 97 when Rivera blew that save against the Cleveland Indians and giving up that home run in Game 4 to Sandy Alomar, possibly maybe a 5-peat, maybe. But
that
that's not.
Indians lineup
That's not
is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
Oh man, you talk about Sandy Alomar, you talk about Manny Ramirez, Jim
Kenny
Thome.
Lofton.
I mean, like Kenny Lofton. Like, the 90s Indians were truly the modern day murderers row in the American League, if you really think about it. And what's astounding to even look back on this with retrospect is they got to the World Series twice and came excruciatingly close to winning it in 97, which is really hard to believe, if not for the blown side by Jose Mesa in the bottom of the 9th.
And I would never trust that man. That's my closer. I hated Jose Mesa as like and toward the end of his career. The beginning he was great and all that. Just a bad taste in my mouth, especially as a fantasy owner.
I have more of a back on a sports radio question. I've kind of seen on your Twitter this week, and I think you sent out a video of like Felger talking like some smack about Carabas. I just want to know your take on what occurred there, and it seemed to be getting some attention.
This is gonna come with a loaded answer. So here goes.
Go ahead. Let's go.
Number one, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Carabas, and I do mean that sincerely as a friend, because he's been nothing but great to me. I've had him on my own podcast, interviewed him, and we have our own banter on that podcast and so forth. But what Felger did that really pissed me off was it wasn't just so much as, damn, he went after my boy, like, no, but rather it came across as, well, he's not a contrarian like himself, so he's just a general ass kisser of the Boston Red Sox. I'm like, how can you possibly blame a man for
being a fan
the Boston Red Sox and then
the nerve.
but the narrative, and then what makes it worse, in my opinion, is that I feel like Boston sports media, the number one criticism that I genuinely do have is that we're so used to freaking negativity that when you learn to bring things from a very down the middle perspective, it often gets looked at as you're not like negative, like you're not.
Yeah,
like,
you green
exactly,
teamer.
You're a complete utter wuss to say exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not Felger. And Felger is terrific at what he does.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best radio talents in the country, bar none. But that whole exchange between like him and Carabas and me tweeting, and I tweeted it out because it's like, Carabas, you need to see this. Like, but I was like, yo, you need to know like that this dude is literally saying this about you. I don't know if you're busy, but you need to see this. And when I saw that, he retweeted and quoted my tweet, and I was like, dude, you have a right to feel how you feel. But the thing that really stood out to me today was this. I watched today's edition of Felger and Mass, and Felger had another thing on Carabas again.
Is this the one where did he pee in that bottle? Did you see that tweet?
I saw it. I was wondering. I'm like, that looked like piss.
It did.
I mean, that's just gross. Like,
It looked like
in the
it.
bathroom, for God's sakes. That's
a radio
you're
show,
on national TV. Anyway, so like his thing was, well, Carabas was pointing out to Matt McCarthy, who hosted the baseball hour yesterday, and he was saying that you don't need to use your eyeballs, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Stop. I get that you love the Boston Red Sox, but this is not even me speaking as a Yankee fan. This is me speaking as someone who has followed baseball since I was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. You need your eyes to be able to dictate whether the player is a good player or not.
Oh, yeah.
You need to hell with analytics. I have declared war on analytics since Game 6 of last year's World Series when Kevin Cash took out Blake Snell in the most ill-fitted decision in World Series history. Like, I'm like, hey, you moron! What are you doing? Why would you take out your ace who's rolling? And the Dodgers have no answer. And yet, well, the analytics said for me that the Dodgers have a tendency to pick up offensive at the third time to the order. You moron! You're in the midst of an elimination game. Why exactly would you rely on analytics at that moment? What happened to good old traditional baseball sense? That kind of thing pissed me off.
That guy blew that in like 9 pitches too. He blew it like right away.
It was a Jonah Hill lookalike sitting in the press box.
Like that was tough. It was immediate.
On your point though about Michael Felger being negative, he came on our airwaves I think like a month or two back. We had him on as guest on the show, and he pointed out not just him, but just like callers calling in, just the whole thing of sports radio talk, at least in Boston, like people like negative. People don't want to be like, oh yeah, the Patriots like are playing well, like good stuff. No, they want to know what's wrong about the team. They want to know the flaws. So that's kind of the way he explained to us, and he makes a point to it. But I do understand that in terms of Carabas's there of being a fan, you have more than the right to be a fan.
They're both like the spectrum of both of it though. So, like they're both way over here and way over there.
I was going to bring
be
up
in the middle
in the terms of like how Barstool is actually changing the entire landscape of like, you know what? Fuck this. I am not going to have to worry about getting never hired again from a company. Right. I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to say this how I want. I'm going to go after fucking Roger Goodell in the NFL. I'm going to go after this fucking certain people because I don't like you and I don't like what you did and I don't respect you. I don't care. If we do things right, we can do it our way. We don't have to worry about filtering ourselves. We can,
unfiltered.
Sports radio hides behind being negative, but they never really attack anything. They never give up anything, never go after anybody. It's always
No, my point was he just thinks it's the norm of like negativity is, good to it, and I think there's both sides to it.
Yeah, they can be so tough on the team sometimes. Sometimes I hear their station and I'm like, I have to turn this off.
The 2018 Red Sox, they literally acted like that team sucked.
They're like literally just
see, I will admit that as someone who I wasn't in radio just yet, as someone who was listening as a fan, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was by far the most entertaining season of any championship team that I've seen here since moving to Boston. Like, I saw the 2016 Patriots. I saw the 2018 Boston Red Sox. I saw the 2018 New England Patriots. And if the freaking Boston Bruins don't blow a damn gasket in Game 7 and clap their pants at the damn Garden, maybe we'd be talking about 4 championships instead of 3. But
I fucking love the intensity.
Glory is still in my head.
I'm not trying to blow your eardrums out, guys. But
I love it. There's nothing more I love than intensity.
It really makes me mad. But back to my point. But that 2018, summer of 2018, and that whole 2018 season, for Big Jim Murray, for him to create the Wheel of Gutless Bones was one of the most hilarious, but one of the most brilliant things you can do from an entertainment standpoint in sports radio. I mean, you talk about a team, that team as loaded as it was that year.
They're winners from beginning to end.
The one flaw that they had was the bullpen.
Yep.
And it was like, you created the Wheel of Gutless Bones, and then you could hear like all of the names of the bullpen being repeated as the wheel got spun, and you hear like Kimbrel, Barnes, freaking Ryan Brazier, like I mean the whole list.
Joe Kelly, yep.
Oh, Joe Kelly as well. Like I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. But my gosh, the only time that you hear them give them remotely any sort of credit was the day of the parade.
Yeah, right. Legit.
That was it.
I think their like negativity and like criticism actually like ramps up as soon like the farther they get in the season. Like they'll be like at the peak of performance, and they just get hypercritical.
If I was them, I would have looked at the game at Yankee Stadium when I think. Now the Red Sox fans get to talk here after the sweep this week, but the 16-1 win when Brock Holt hit for the cycle. Once Brock Holt hit for the cycle in the playoffs, I'm like, okay, we're gonna win the whole thing. Like he doesn't just hit for the cycle, and you don't.
The time I quit and was like, "Fuck, the Red Sox are gonna win the World Series" in 2013. I forget exactly, but the Steven Drew hit the home run.
Wait a second,
and I was like, "Christ!"
All right, so Steven Drew that year, he actually got in like kind of a cold spell, like towards the end of the season.
Oh yeah,
there was a Twitter. Did you see that Twitter account?
Charrington is the worst GM.
I missed it.
So there was a Twitter account that did Stephen Ross get a hit tonight, and the entire the entire list were just no, and then it was like
and then he hit
it was in the World Series, like
he hit a World Series home run, and I was like, "Fuck, they're gonna
for
win."
like the walk off, and the Twitter page was going crazy. He's like, "Yeah, he fucking hit it. It was a home run too." Jesus Christ! Like,
Charrington was so bullied into getting Steven Drew that year. He was a terrible GM. I got so much credit.
Like
that was all
honestly,
Theo.
To your point, no, it was. And here's the thing. Ben Sheraton was holding Theo Epstein's jock leftovers. Like that's what it really was.
It was.
Like, listen, Steven Drew, Mike Napoli. I mean, I get that you were a year removed from like the worst 100th anniversary of celebration of probably of all time. I mean, for a lackluster of a 2012 Red Sox team as it was, but 13. You brought in some vets that had either won before or have played in the World Series, like a Mike Napoli. Shane Victorino was huge, and obviously you still had David Ortiz as well. You also brought in.
We're not even mentioning fucking two of the worst contracts of Hanley Ramirez in fucking.
That was after
Fat Boy.
2013.
I'm talking about that's Charrington.
Adrian Gonzalez.
That was Charrington.
And
Yeah,
Kyle Crawford.
Yeah.
I'm talking about his whole fucking.
Crawford. Oh,
Charrington
God.
was so fucking bad.
Like Crawford.
I love Carl
Wow.
Crawford.
2011.
Reyes Crawford was sick.
That hurt me.
Like he really was, but Red Sox Crawford, not so much. I mean,
That was trash.
for him to be included as part of that trade in 2012 to the Dodgers, in which included Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, and Carl Crawford to the Dodgers, and it was like, wow. On paper, the year prior, people were ready to say that this team is going to be the greatest Red Sox team of all time. September said, "Really? Come on. Hold this. Drink this beer for me, please. Hold this for me, please."
wake me up when September ends.
Dodgers so bailed them out on that trade, by the way.
Like, big time,
Massively.
big time, and it was comedy to me because it was like you took on the contract of Adrian Gonzalez. Okay, fine. He was productive in LA, but did they ever win anything? Did they ever get past the NLCS? No.
Nah.
So like with that being said, like going back to the Red Sox in 2018, the moment that I knew that this team they were going to win the World Series, it wasn't the Brock Holt game actually. There was a game in September of that year. It was in Atlanta, the Brandon Phillips game. That for me was my biggest telltale sign. That comeback after they were down by 7 runs. And then for Brandon Phillips to come off the bench and no big deal, hit a pinch hit home run to put the Red Sox ahead was like, yeah, this team's going to win.
I hadn't had a major league at bat in like a year.
I
forgot that
I was
Brandon
rooting for them
Phillips
so hard to the last fucking pitch. There was like never once in my mind I thought they were going to win just because like I made my mind not allow it. Like I did not think it at all. Truly, I am a born in Boston, Rays fan. It's a long story. I root for the Yankees over the Red Sox. If I hear the Red Sox are the best team in baseball one more fucking time, I'm gonna be pissed.
Puke everywhere.
At least you're honest.
I can't stand it either.
Look who's laughing now. We have fucking 2 starters in our fucking entire rotation, and
That's
We
it.
don't know.
Everybody
There you
else is freaking relievers. Who's your opener going to be? Oh, it's going to be
Colin McHugh, the old Red Sox favorite.
freaking
Casey Fossum.
One of the 9 guys who just throws sidearm. Fucking, I hate playing the Rays.
Shukri, I'll leave you with this last question. Who wins the World Series this year and why?
Ooh.
A lot of good teams.
I gotta go with the San Francisco Giants.
Ooh.
What's going on by the Bay is very difficult to explain. Like if you've been following the San Francisco Giants journey in 2021,
I haven't. Yeah.
Their home run rate.
like listen, this team being a team that hits bombs, pinch me. I haven't seen that since the days of freaking Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent in 2002.
Yeah,
Jeff
they've had some water shots. They've had some cove shots.
55% of their runs come from the home run.
Which is astounding. But when you look at the lineup, I mean, this is before they got Chris Bryant, but goodness grief, Brandon Crawford. I mean,
he's such a house at shortstop.
Like,
Yeah.
MVP votes this year. Should get him.
Healthy Posey.
Absolutely. Buster Posey as well. Returning after opting out of the 2020 season has been huge. But then also, you talk about what has been one of the more underrated aspects of this San Francisco team is the pitching. I mean, you gotta give credit where credit's due. Like, if you are going to sit here and tell me that Kevin Gausman will be one of the big reasons why the Giants will be where they are, I wouldn't have believed it. But the Giants, I think they're gonna go all the way to win the World Series.
Wouldn't be surprised. Anybody who leaves the Orioles, Arrieta, the Orioles ruin pitchers. Bundy, everyone.
Yes.
It's astonishing, but yeah.
But no, I just think the Dodgers got a lot of pitching, man. It's just gonna be, if they get in the series, whether it's NLCS or whenever they play, I think that's gonna be a hell of a series whenever they do.
Padres
No mistakes over there in San Francisco, though.
Reds make the
Fundamental
playoffs.
baseball, they
Padres
make
don't.
no
That's
errors.
my call.
California as a whole kind of killing the baseball season.
Yeah, kind of on their grind. Yeah, kind of get it done.
For sure. Shukri Wrights, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Best of luck with everything going forward.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you guys for having me on. I'll be more than happy to come back and
and welcome to
look forward
Quincy.
doing this again. Perhaps.
Yeah, get you in the studio. Let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just hit me up after next week, and we can definitely get something set up for sure.
Let's do it.
If you are looking to shed those extra quarantine pounds and get stronger, or you're an athlete looking to get a slight edge on your competition, we have the gym for you. Introducing Slight Edge Fitness and Performance, conveniently located in Braintree, Massachusetts at 101 French Avenue. With Craig Kelly, best in the business, Slight Edge is offering individual, small group, and sports performing training in a private gym setting. The Slight Edge trainers will be sure to get your heart rate up, increase strength, and help you reach your fitness goals with a customized program. Find them on Instagram using the handle @SlightEdgeFit or visit their website at slightedgefit.com and set up a free strategy session while you're there.
And that was Shukri Wrights. Like we said beforehand, he really gave you everything you wanted in, shooting the breeze about sports, talking about Angstry, and kind of it's a real thing of his radio personality career with linking up with Bob Sochi there. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, he's a great presence. You can definitely tell he knows what he's doing. He definitely has passion for sports, so that's always good to see.
Exactly. Like what he showed is like how much he cares, and this is what he was meant to do, and what he wants to do most. He was explaining kind of how I shut up and listen. He took this in because this is actually what he wanted to do, and I thought that was very cool.
Gotta respect the hell out of it. Yeah.
I definitely like that part where he's talking about how you have to be the student. You have to shut up. Yeah, you can't go in knowing that you know everything, or you won't have the ability to learn or even want to.
You're not Adam Schefter in one day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he took back on the humbleness of that back seat, which you can definitely tell got him to the position where he's at today because he took it seriously and on that level. So definitely like that.
Yeah. When he talks about listening, I really. And I could relate my career with kind of
Listen.
that too.
I wanted to mention that too. I was like, dude, you probably have a similar type of experience.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to mention that.
Exactly. We will move on. We did not talk about football in the interview at all, so we will get to that. The Patriots currently up 13-0 in a preseason game right now.
Looking pretty good.
The talk of the town has been obviously the quarterback battle, as there hasn't been one in the last 20 plus years.
Right.
Except for those losers that wanted Stidham.
Yeah, at least in New England.
And Hoyer.
Come on.
Just saying, I'll hand up.
So far, I mean, I know it's preseason, but Cam Newton, 8 and 9, 103 yards, just threw a 28-yard touchdown pass to Jacoby Myers, who looks to be, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 this year. Going into this game, I will say, what have you done for me lately? That's the football game here. But what I've seen in Mac Jones, at least in preseason game 1, and what you see in camp, what you've heard the beat writers talk about is, how poised he is, and he would be like the game manager type. But it's not fair to compare him to Tom Brady. I don't like when people do that. Well, at least in the beginning of his career. But if you're talking about mistake-free football, I think he's definitely the route to go to instead of Cam Newton. I honestly had really liked Cam Newton growing up. Well, like in the beginning of his career, MVP. But it would be a great comeback story. You would love to see that if he was ever able to put a season together. And there's a lot of future in a place above. But what tells me it's Mac time is there's a running game. You have 6 guys who are NFL ready running backs, and at least one of them is going to get cut. And then on the defensive end, you are stacked from up front, secondary, wherever you want it. So this team is a run-based team with a really unbelievable defense. And like I said, not fair to compare to Tom Brady, but that's very much the same thing as they had in 2001 when they won the Super Bowl.
Since last week, I've completely changed my tone on what I want the Patriots kind of to do with the quarterback. And I don't think I want Mac touching really the field. And maybe week 11 or whatever, whenever.
Yeah, whatever
if
happens.
we're
So
way
the season
goes.
I still think, week 1, I still think it's Cam.
I think a lot of points, just give him the time, let him learn, let him just play, let Cam be fed to the dogs. This isn't a 1 year window we have that we usually typically, is this our last year of Tom Brady?
Adam, I was gonna say you really nailed it on the head with that. This is Cam's really season to pull it all together. Like if he has to, if there's one point in his career where if he wants to be either remembered for good things or negative things, this is the year. He knows he has eyes on him. He knows he has a rookie QB, obviously hungry to get in that position. If even with the contract, isn't this his last year on that contract?
Yeah, he signed a 1-year deal. Yeah. But off topic here, he had that chance when he could have dove for that fumble in the Super Bowl.
That right there, defined him as a player. That just gives you, you can't be, you don't want to back up someone that won't put their entire life.
Zolak's Twitter picture for
Bowl.
months was Tom Brady reaching for the ball, everything he had.
Literally, that's a somebody jumping on a grenade for the rest of his fucking team. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's just...
Even just looking at this box score right now, I know they're playing the Eagles, but I need to just throw in this jab when I can. Philadelphia fumbles. Joe Flacco, 1 fumble, 1 lost. Bam.
Flacco!
What's that Miles Sanders is going for?
Who is it?
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders. He got 2 for 13. Why, you got him on DraftKings or something?
No, it's just asking.
Okay.
just keeping tabs on him.
Genuine question.
Miles Sanders.
My next thing I wanted to point out with the Patriots, again, like I said, 6 running backs. Someone's got to go, and I'll name them all. So Damian Harris is projected to be running back 1. Sony Michel off year, maybe running back 2. And then you have James White, who's your security blanket, who is going to bail out any of these quarterbacks who's going to start here. And then you have Ramon Stevenson. He played great last week, over 100 yards. And then you got J.J. Taylor, who, is they're on special teams, and, he really dug in. I know they're playing against third-teamers, but I think I said 5. Was that 5 there or 6? I think
5.
5, I think, yeah.
Either way, I only
one of
them's going. So the options to me are you cut J.J. Taylor, you put him on the practice squad, or you just try to get something for Sony Michel because it seems like it's on. I think it's on the last year of his contract.
I think you cut him.
Yeah,
you think you cut him?
Belichick loves the versatility in players, especially the running backs. Players on special teams, players who can get out in the passing game. His knees are bad. You got Damian Harris. He's ready to go. Why?
But I think that's why you traded him. I think Bill wants something for
What are you going to get from him? A fucking 7th-round pick in 2025?
Do you know how many
to Bill Belichick? That's beautiful.
Do you know how many of these teams though have whack-ass running backs? Sony Michel would be a breath of fresh air for a lot of teams.
I don't think so.
That's how a lot of our teams are. Even we were talking about the baseball with Shukri. We were talking about even our pitching staff. Probably 75% of the entire teams in the league would take any of our bum pitchers just to be like, all right, like this is going to improve our season. Our chances are.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name?
Except for Josh Taylor, feed him to the fucking wolves.
Yeah.
I think that's a lie.
Like, what's his name? Pavetta. Pavetta's like a 2 on the Orioles.
I love.
I like Pavetta.
Have you guys seen Brock Holtzman pitching?
If
the 31 mile an hour?
Face the Orioles. What are they? 0-17 in the
Yeah,
last 17?
pretty bad. But let's get back on the football.
Go Yankees.
Yeah, so the only other thing I really have with the Patriots is how their defense shakes out. Yeah, what's his name? Matt Judon.
From Baltimore. It looks amazing.
he looks amazing. It looks like there's a lot of prove guys. A guy I wrote a column for the New England Football Journal this week. I guess I got to throw it out there.
Nice plug.
Joe Jamal Williams, he's been battling. This is his 3rd year now, and he's been fighting to get on the field, and he's really only played special teams. This is a guy who's really. He showed last week, I know, again, playing third stringers in a preseason game, but breaking up a pass, it just seems like he's always, getting better, and it seems like he has no quit in him, and he's just waiting for an opportunity. I think he's like 4th or 5th in the cornerback depth chart right now, which is is loaded.
And he is our biggest cornerback, so it would be good to utilize him for the
it gets used, absolutely. It runs with everyone together. I mean, that obviously having guys like Stephon Gilmore and, I think J.C. Jackson has really come on as a top 10, top 15 cornerback in this league. So, I mean, that's a tough rap having to play behind those guys in terms of, getting on the field. Because, when it comes to big time, big games that the New England Patriots usually play in, you want to have those 2 guys on the field.
And when you do get that chance, you better make that
play.
Show
up. Yeah, you better show up.
To me, those the 2 biggest questions on the defense, I think, would be agreed is the linebacking core, how they're going to be, and if Stephon Gilmore is going to say, "Fuck you, pay me," or "Get rid of me," how what's his effort level going to be?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I'm a big Stephon Gilmore fan, though.
Huge.
I think it's a big question though. The way I've heard some, he's acting up, not massively, but.
No, but it is because dude, like the players want to get fucking paid. You know what I mean? Like,
you're a football player.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your job.
Yeah.
Future Steele Nazz guest though, Kyle Van Noy. I think that's a big pickup. I think the Dolphins dropped the ball there by cutting. I think they cut him right after a year or something.
Did we pick him back up?
Yeah, we picked him back up. We really needed last year. The linebacking core was nothing. Jawan Bentley's going to have a little bit of bounce back here.
I love him as a player.
He's always looked good when he's on the field. Yeah.
Having Donta back from he didn't play last year because of COVID.
Always huge. The leader.
He might be hurt and only might play like 12 games. But that's all you need from a guy who, if you get to the stage, if you get to the playoffs, he's gonna make a big time play. You saw that in all their Super Bowl wins. Honestly,
when hasn't he?
Honestly, yeah, like Julian Edelman, Gronk, and all them, all been clutch and big moments for the New England Patriots down the stretch in their Super Bowl runs. But other than Tom Brady, you might look at Donta Hightower and be like, wow, he's definitely the defensive guy who's come up with clutch plays in terms of, I think, the Atlanta Falcons.
He does a strip sack.
And then the Rams, he got the pressure on Goff to make him throw that little buddy pass interception to Gilmore there.
And he makes the play, I think, where Marshawn Lynch doesn't get into the end zone. He's like the guy that heads off.
He's
so the guy who heads off
every single one. That's impressive. Unreal stuff. We're gonna get into now a little round the table thing since we got to get out of here pretty soon. We're gonna go over unders on win totals. We're gonna do a different division every week. Really incorporate the True Hedge Better name in this podcast here. I'm going to start with team we just were talking about, Pats at 9.5 over under. I mean, Alex Barth came on here last week and kind of said what can happen if the quarterback play is well. What can happen if it doesn't go well? I think he was pretty spot on with that. I would just say it really all depends who's going to start week 1. I think getting off to a good start for this team is key. And if you win week 4, man, you win week 4. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to town. This town's going to get buzzing again. It's going to get going.
That'd be a good game.
I think 9.5, that's a good number because...
Oh, it's a great line.
Yeah, it's a great line.
It's a great line.
I'm nailing the over. I think they're solid on 10 wins. I think 10-7.
Yeah, I'm in with over. I think 10 or 11 maybe. See what happens, but I think that's where it will be.
So for me, when I'm picking
helps
division picks here, like I was looking at them and over under. And I wanted to go a lot of under on the at least. But again, you play each other, twice, 17 games. I think the tight ends are going to be overrated in how much they're used in our offense this year.
Got to get healthy anyway.
But either way.
And then another thing,
I'm still going over.
Yeah.
I'm still going over. I think 10-7. Adam hit it.
Another thing, I don't mean to toot Bar's horn or anything, but he really pointed out the fact that having that double tight end set isn't just for the double tight end set. It could be a big decoy and bring so much dynamics to this offense. And like I said, you want to play safe. You want to play mistake-free football in terms of if you got a great running game and a great defense. But if Cam Newton's a starter and you're able, to get those guys deep and draw the attention on the receivers, and he's able to take off, that's a big game that they didn't have last year. Because, you saw even at that Seattle Seahawks game before we got COVID and everything kind of went south, that, they ran 3 times, I think, with him to get in the end zone, and they knew every single time he was running in. So, to have that unpredictability factor for the Patriots offense will be big this year.
Right. And then lastly, I'm going to also go over. I want to keep the positivity and
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not going to say they're going to get 9 wins. That's a failure.
Disgusting.
That's a blow up the team. Start over. Get rid of Bill. Get rid of Bob. Sell the team.
We'll spin to another team now. Enough of the past talk, I guess. The New York Jets under first-year coach Robert Saleh taking Zach Wilson at number 2 from BYU here. The over-under is 6. Which, I think that's still a little low, although they're going to get, this is a division where if you're the 4th place team, you're going to get beat up.
Right.
You're playing 3 pretty good football teams, and you had a rookie quarterback. I'm a big fan of Jamison Crowder, and that guy, Mekhi Becton, him and, who's the guy in the Pats that I'm forgetting, Trent Brown. They should have a rough and rowdy. Mekhi Becton,
massive players.
They're both just massive dudes. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough year for the Jets. I'm going to shoot the under. I think they go, 6, though. You got that extra game there.
Is it 6.5 or 6?
It's 6. It's 6 is
flat?
the dot. I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to say 5-12.
I'm going to go over. Slightly over. Because I think that, and this has been going on forever, I like Zach Wilson, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And I also think the AFC East has always been, it's always been mocked more than it should be. Those teams usually do better against the non-AFC. The AFC East is probably going to shackle the Jets. Probably
they just have no confidence in our league itself.
But they're going to beat up I don't know, some AFC South teams or something. I think they'll scrape a few wins together. And I mean 7 and 10. I think they can get there.
I mean, I completely disagree. I think if it was 4.5, I'd still go under. I think Zach Wilson's not going to be very successful. He shouldn't. If he's starting day 1, I think shame on the Jets. I think their defense definitely is good.
Who do they have other than Zach Wilson?
A guy named Mike White, who I think he played pretty good last week in their first game, but yeah, no clue. James Morgan from Morgan and Morgan there, right?
yeah. Size matters.
Yeah,
but I mean, their defense is very good. They've had a lot of high picks and all of that, but I just don't see them hitting even close to 6. I think it's 5, 4, maybe even 3.
And I just think that's part and due to them playing the Patriots and the Bills and the Dolphins.
Correct.
6.
That's 6. That's 6 losses.
I think if you look across the AFC,
I'll give 1 and 5.
It's actually the AFC is very tough this year. I think so. I think I'm higher on the AFC South than most this year, but still.
I'm definitely going to lean towards the lower, but just to get a little crazy too, I'm going to go for a push for 6 wins on the dot.
Oh, I like it. I'd be right.
Ties are for losers. Miami Dolphins, he played half the season when they were they just didn't want Fitzmagic anymore. But Tua Tagovailoa, the starting quarterback this year, he's got a loaded receiving core despite Will Fuller being suspended for a little bit. Devontae Parker, I think he's been suffering a couple injuries. But Jalen Waddle, big pickup in the first round there. Mike Gesicki, great tight end. He really showed out last year. The over-under for this one is the same as the past, 9.5.
Wow, I was going to say, that's pretty high for them.
So what I have for them is they need to come out hot. This is a team that's not just going to bounce back from losing a lot of games. They had a great defense last year too. Xavier Howard, I don't think he's coming back, right? Did he opt out or something?
I believe he's gone. Believe he's gone.
Okay.
And Tua is definitely starting for the Miami.
Yeah.
100%.
The Eric Rowe, Jason McCourty, now newly acquired by the Dolphins. Byron Jones, beast out of UConn. Christian Wilkins, mask guy. I'm gonna go under because. Okay, let's be honest here. Either the Patriots are going to win more than 9.5 games, or the Dolphins are going to win more than 9.5 games.
Yeah.
And it's one or the other. And actually, shout out to my cousin Jay Nazz, just moved down to Miami, new apartment, everything. Week 17, is it whatever, 17 or 18.
January 9th. I got the invite too.
I'm going down there.
Me too.
Yeah, for week the Pats against the Dolphins, and I hope the game means something. Because, like I said, the over/under is going to be based on these teams. I'm going to go under for the Dolphins strictly because I just said I'm going to go over for the Pats. Jacoby Brissett, I think he gets some action this year. I think it could happen.
I was going to say, I might, if I were to go over on that, it's because I think Tua gets hurt and Jacoby comes in.
Wow.
I think Jacoby would be better for them than Tua.
Bold.
I think so, very much so.
But
I don't
that's
think
not what they think, I guess, so we're going under.
Yeah, I don't think Tua has what it takes to be honest with you.
Same thing. I love the optimism and the positivity. I think Tua is going to have a great year. I feel like a lot of the QBs that come into the league that are not just the running, but that star outshining players. They're a lot more apt to try different things. I feel like he's going to roll out of the pocket more. He's going to try and push a lot of stuff. So I feel like he's going to try really hard this first year.
I'm looking at.
No, that's a tough game to play because you take one bad hit, you're out for literally the rest of your career.
A guy I'm looking at on the Dolphins who has a chance to be an all-pro type player one day is first-round Jalen Waddle. I mean, he was incredible at Alabama. He was a little hurt this year. Has experience playing with Tua and our guy Mac Jones.
Right.
But I think that's a guy who could really bust out with guys like Fuller and Parker who are veterans next to him in terms of, the receiving game is going to be really there. I think they just have Myles Gaskin, Malcolm Brown, who are the running backs. And Malcolm Brown, I think, is coming from the Rams, right?
Gaskin's a good player.
Yeah, they'll be all right. But, I just think this receiving core is deep, man. It's something to look out for.
I mean, this is another one that, if it's 6.5, I think I'm going under. I am very.
Adam was shocked.
I am very off on these. I want
32 teams.
I want a lefty quarterback to be good. I really do. I want Tua to be good.
That's what I'm saying. I want
lefty here. I like it.
But I just don't see it. I think now with film on Tua, the defense water finds this level. It's not going to be as top as a level as it was. Xavier Howard is still on that team, but I just don't. I don't see. What is it? What was it? 8.5?
9.5, same as the Pats.
Just hell no.
That's why you can't say. I literally don't think you can say the Patriots and the Dolphins are both going to go over. It's one or the other.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said it'd be under if it's 6.5.
Yeah, I still think that too. I think 6-7 wins is where the Dolphins end. It's just they're just Tua's a
Flores.
Tua's a game. Flores is fine. He's again a defensive coach, and that he got that. The Dolphins were so unknown. Now there's so much film.
Their hot streak last year was from Fitzmagic, and they decided to bench him. They ruined their whole.
Fitzmagic.
Tua was 5-2, wasn't he? Tua was 5-2, 6-2 as a starter.
They didn't even make the playoffs. They dove at the end.
He was still 5-2.
Nah, it wasn't 5-2.
I don't think there's a chance Tua goes the entire season. I don't think there's a prayer.
He gets hurt too much.
Doesn't matter to me.
We're gonna move on to the AFC 2020 AFC East champions, the Buffalo Bills Mafia Bills, whatever you want to call them. The over/under is pretty high for them, 11.
Yep.
They just signed Josh Allen to a beautiful deal. Mitchell Trubisky's looking great on second couch. They have Stephon Diggs, who had an unbelievable season. He just couldn't be covered.
Won me a fantasy championship, baby.
Emmanuel Sanders comes in as a acquisition from that. I think that's a big pickup. Cole Beasley, good
slot guy.
Yeah, no, great slot guy. And then you have defensive gurus. Matt Milano's been on that team for a while now. BC guy. Tre'Davious White has made himself as one of the best cornerbacks in all of football. Micah Hyde is a veteran safety who had a great career, I think, with the Green Bay Packers, right? Mm-hmm. I just think this team is destined for greatness again. They play the same schedule. Well, a little bit different from the Patriots, but last year they were one of the toughest schedules in football. I think they won 12 or 13 games. Over under 11 here. You got the extra game here. I'm going to nail the over on this team. I think they're going to win the AFC East. I think the Patriots going to put up a little bit of fight, but I think they'll win by like a game or two. I think 2 games. I think they go 12-5. Bills will again. I think they're just going to fight and fall. They're going to do the same thing as they did last year. Get to the point where it's probably either them or the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are just going to run them over. Go back to the Super Bowl.
And this is the one time I'm not going to be optimistic. The Bills, their heads are getting too big up there in Buffalo. We need to take them down a notch. I feel like someone's getting hurt. Josh Allen's breaking a leg first game. Under heavy. 9 games.
I think I might go because I don't think that team knows how to like handle this.
Yeah. There's no like real experience.
And even like the coaches, like I don't think they know like the city of Buffalo is thinking fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think they know how to do that.
They're already talking first round buys. Like, you guys haven't even started the preseason yet.
Yeah,
relax.
like I don't know. I think they choke, and that might just be me after 20 years of watching the Bills.
They have thousands of disposable tables already lined up. Like they're ready, exactly. They're ready to go.
And to your point, that like Josh Allen just getting paid there. Just had a phenomenal season. I didn't think he was capable of the things he did last year. Like just read out defenses. He likes to go on the run and wait for the guys to get open, and then he slings it out. He's got the best arm, one of the best arms in football.
MVP candidate. Definitely.
But now with all these all this film, all these tapes, all these defensive gurus, is there a way that these defenses are going to start figuring him out? Is there a way where if you take away Diggs, can Sanders and Beasley beat you? I think absolutely, but I mean, you saw last year that no one could cover Diggs. Literally nobody.
Yeah, he's definitely probably top 3, if not top 5.
He cost J.C. Jackson like a contract, probably, the way he fucking murdered him in that final game.
So if you're able to take away his best option, will he stay pat? Will he hit Sanders and Beasley, or even a guy tight end Dawson Knox, who played great last year? They got a good tight end there.
I just feel like so many of these quarterbacks really do rely on the keys of what they have behind them. Where an example with Tom Brady, when the guys are out or he has the backup players, he can step up and make those different plays. But I feel like where the skill level falls with some of these quarterbacks, someone goes out like that can be detrimental to your whole.
Oh yeah, no Stephon Diggs over there anymore.
Just even one player. We would literally have 6 players out, all rookies, and we'd still be winning games just by the skin of our teeth.
Oh yeah, especially the Dobson and Thompson days.
Yeah, exactly.
That was fucking.
Literally.
God,
this guy's played one snap in his career. He started 3 touchdowns.
I think first time in how many episodes? 44 for Steele Nazz. Me and Adam agree 4 out of 4. I think it's over.
Wow.
I think Buffalo's 12-13 wins, no problem. Josh Allen is a very good quarterback. I think he's the second best quarterback in the AFC outside of Patrick Mahomes.
Naturally. That's too hot of a take. Yeah.
Who's better?
Minshew.
No, I'm saying Mahomes. Saying anyone's better than him, it's just a lie.
No, I mean, I think they're a great team. They're a hard-nosed team. I think they have a great defense. They have the pieces there. They can run the ball. Allen can make plays. He knows how to fucking throw the ball.
Oh yeah.
As long as he just doesn't maybe there's regression in terms of interceptions and turnovers, but I don't see any problem of them getting 12 or 13 wins over the rest.
For sure, and I think next week we do a little NFC East. I don't know anyone been watching Hard Knocks with the Cowboys there.
I've not.
No one.
I'll catch up before
I'll
next
just go
week,
fuck myself on that.
Catch up.
Cowboys, dude.
The last football note I wanted to bring up, and this one hit hard the other day when Tim Tebow was cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, and
literally love to see it.
This has just been an ongoing thing since Peyton Manning took his life down. Tim Tebow led the Broncos to the playoffs, led them to a win, overtime win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't even remember what that year was. I think 2010 now.
I was about to say, can you give me the date of that?
Yeah. Now falls off. Well, I mean, then fell off. Just couldn't be a quarterback in the NFL. Goes and plays baseball. Plays awful there. And then I didn't watch every practice with the Jaguars, but probably didn't go well. And he just... It's really tough to see all that failure from a guy who was so successful in college, and even with him as a broadcaster. I know it has nothing to do with his athletic career, but seems like just a very accomplished person who, in reality, at least in the professional level, he went for it, and I love that shit, but he didn't accomplish anything.
Guy has sucked since iPhones dropped, dude. Fuck off. Guy's a loser.
Dropped the mic for Mike Steele, huh?
Fuck Tebow by Cardano.
I think he just needs to pray a little bit harder. He's that close.
The worst. Smell ya.
My last tidbit here. You know, we're done with the football talk. My last tidbit before we go. We end this here. Netflix recommendation here. Watched last night.
What the fuck are we doing?
What?
A Netflix recommendation?
Yeah.
Pop culture hour.
Yeah. Well, no, it's gonna be sports.
Come on.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Untold. Malice in the Palace.
Oh, I did see that.
The Detroit Pacers. Dude, you got to see this raw
Wish it
footage.
wasn't Malice in the Palace. Wish it
Well,
wasn't.
little tease this like they
Unseen cut footage?
unseen cut footage, and there's just I'll tease this. Steven Jackson was the first one to go in the stands when Ron Artest was just being shelled by 7 guys. There's just a clear cut video of him just one piecing this
They
guy.
were rocking
They
people.
No, you gotta watch.
Yeah, they were all like the scariest people. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
they-
like,
yeah, they were
I
tough.
wouldn't fight Jermaine O'Neal for anything.
That documentary was so well done though. Like they had the shitbag fans, like they were interviewing them.
Really?
They had the guy who
That's
threw
awesome.
the drink. They had the. Remember the guy when
Was he like cocky about it, or did
Oh
he have
no,
remorse?
he was an asshole. He was so.
I think we all would be that. Like,
I'd do it again.
Yeah, he was so
I would
like,
do it again too. I'd get my.
Yeah, give me a fair fight, Ron.
And what was gonna? Yeah, they had the guy who came down after Ron Artest like walked back on the court, and the guy, I don't know, he was just like
at the end, he's like, "What's up?
heavy set 5 like
Yeah.
8 guy just like being Ron Artest. Ron Artest is this big motherfucker.
Yeah, he's like
just like, yeah, I
6'5",
got you, and he
6'6".
just fucking put him
Frogs
out.
him.
No, that's a good watch. I was like, I put everything down, and that was a good one to watch.
Sounds good.
stuff.
Hard Knocks and Mouse at the Palace. Have to catch up on those.
Yes, and also a quick plug. Saturday, August 28th, coming up, big Steele Nazz softball classic. We got 9 teams. We got 1 champion. We got 1 big cause for cystic fibrosis. For in loving memory of my guys Dennis and Dan Sullivan. Going to be a great day. Faxon Park, O'Rourke Park, Quincy, Mass. Going to be all day. So whoever wants to go out or reach out to any of us who wants to donate, we're donating all of the proceeds towards the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
50-50 raffle tickets have been delivered. If you want to order them, pre-order them. We'll put your name on the back of them. Get them in the bucket. Fucking start making.
See you there. Yeah.
And a little sneak peek, we might have some big news for next week's episode.
Bam, bam. Softballs are at the house. Already ordered them. Great stuff.
Hey, we'll see you Saturday, everyone.
Yep, that's all from Steele and Nazz. Have a night, ladies and gentlemen.